everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I guess I don't have the slidey thingy. Thank you. So I'm truly excited to be here. Yes, my name is Isabel Jimenez. I'm a distributed systems engineer at Mesosphere. I was asked today to tell the story about how I got a job from contributing to FOSS. So I work on Mesos, and I like to contribute to open source in general. So let me start by outlining the steps to that path and give you my takeaways on the industry in general. I grew up in France, Paris, and as most of us, I started legitimately being curious about computers in high school. I installed my first Linux distribution on my home computer. It was a Mandriva, in case you needed more proof of my Frenchness. And I began writing small shell scripts. Between man pages and other people's code, I started discovering software, discovering computers. So I had this cool idea. My goal was to write a script that would quantify my time online and set up alerts, kind of achievements on time caps. And, well, what happened is that I output time. And I don't know if you've noticed how your clock desktop works. It's dynamic and shows real time. Well, mine didn't. It was very bad. When we start working on our goals and contributing and learning from other people's code, we have to keep in mind that, of course, it takes multiple tries and a lot of reading open code. I wanted to share this picture of one of my colleagues today. I'm not sure how he's going to react. He has a "this is ridiculous" face. It was the face almost everyone had when I manifested my interest in computer science. So family, teachers, everyone. We also have to know that we shouldn't be stopped by social obstructions. I had discovered free open source software. FOSS gave me the determination and also the opportunity to follow my passion and goals. This discovery led me to know about the college I recently graduated from, Epitech. At the time I heard about Epitech, it was the biggest IT infrastructure in Europe running on NetBSD, all wired up with AFS, a distributed file system. So the funny story is that one of the AFS guys came to our school and was really surprised that such a big cluster actually worked. For something that wasn't initially designed for, it shows how impactful FOSS is. In such an immersive open source culture and environment, I learned how to code and also got the most respect for different contributors of all kinds. But when we were in college, we also had this common worry about how to get experience. We worried about how we're going to get a job without experience. And most of us think that we cannot get that from open source. Well, a year before I graduated, I moved to the US and started looking forward my graduation and how I can get a job. I learned that what companies really want to see is your code. And how better than to contribute it and share it in large, communal, complicated code bases. Contributing to open source is kind of intimidating. You have to be sure you're not breaking that teenager writing scripts mind. That alone sets the bar pretty high. So I knew about Docker. It's a great project, it has a great community, and I felt safe enough to start doing my first contribution. What happens when you start contributing to open source is excitement and a bit of addiction. So you start getting interested in contributing to other open source projects. So I found out about Apache Mesos through OPW, today's outreach program, internship at Twitter. One of the things I forget to mention a lot when praising open source is how you get better. The bar of quality of the code in open source is very high. And when I started contributing to Mesos, review after review, I get to learn a lot from my mistakes to be a better engineer. The Mesos community is one of the most welcoming. Committers are very, very enthusiastic to hear about newcomers willing to contribute. They're there for you to welcome you and answer any of your questions. Mesos, it's an Apache project, and being that, it has to be run the Apache way, which means that it has to involve different people from different backgrounds and different environments, different companies. So Microsoft, Apple, Airbnb, Twitter, to say just a few, all contribute to Mesos together. So everything started for me as a fun way to just fill my personal projects field in my resume. But after my internship, I graduated, and I was still looking for a job. And I decided that I wasn't ready to give up working in such a stimulating environment, working on cutting-edge technology. I decided that being a contributor and being part of a community does not go away as easily. So I applied to a job at my internship mentor's company, Benjamin Heinemann, and he brought me into Mesosphere. Mesosphere is one of the hippest companies of the Silicon Valley today. We work on what I believe will change and deeply impact the industry. So I want to very emphasize how fortunate I feel about being part of a company with such a strong open source culture. My full-time work is working on open source. The company is so committed to open source that all his product components are also fully open source. Our product is DCOS. So the company is so absorbed by the open source culture that they couldn't not launch DCOS in a community version. For those of you that don't know, what a DCOS is, it's the data center operating system. So building distributed systems is hard. Our mission is to make building and running those systems as easy as building and running an app on your phone. Michael Hosenblas, I believe, will give more details about DCS if you're interested this afternoon. So my path, it's one that anyone can follow. But of course, I wouldn't be here without programs like Google Summer of Code or Outreachy, Google Summer of Code equivalents, but for people from underrepresented communities. And just so you know, Outreach's deadline for applications, it's on November 2nd, so hurry up. To conclude, I'll say that all of us here will agree that open source is the successful future for the tech industry. Open source not only attracts talent, but enforces it. It's a way to show and improve your skills. There's no better way to get experience than to contribute to open source. So if you'd like to talk more about it, please come find me or reach out on Twitter. Thank you.